Put up or shut up. That's the focus of tonight's angle. It's clickbait, and it's the left's go-to shiny object for keeping African Americans on the line. Well, of course, I'm talking about reparations and San Francisco's latest over-the-top proposals, most of which will never see the light of day. Now, in what's a purported effort to level the playing field after slavery and discrimination, 111 recommendations were proposed to advance the reparations agenda, and on the list, check this out, a $5 million payment to every eligible African-American adult, debt forgiveness, Lord knows how much that's going to be, guaranteed income of $97,000 a year for 250 years, and homes in San Francisco for just $1 per family. But don't worry. If there are HOA or parking fees that come with the housing, those would be covered as well. Now, the Hoover Institution is putting the price tag on just the $5 million per person part of the plan at $600,000 per household. Now, imagine adding that massive burden onto families already dealing with the crushing weight of Biden inflation. That's hard to fathom. But fans of reparations want to suck you into the debate in order to stereotype all of you as unfeeling, uncaring jerks.
I have been struck by the overheated and irrational response to this draft report. Those of my constituents who lost their minds about this proposal, it's not something we're doing or we would do for other people. It's something we would do for our future, for our everybody's collective future and the generations to come.
Wow. It would benefit our collective futures? How could anyone be against that? Now, reaching into your wallet to apologize for slavery is the least you people could do. Well, and of course, money talks. Justin Hansford, a law professor at Howard University, put it this way. If you're going to try to say you're sorry, well, you have to speak in the language that people understand. And money is that language. Recall that this debate began on college campuses decades ago. And then the idea really gained traction in recent years, especially after the death of George Floyd. And now, even African Americans who've enjoyed huge success in America, they think they deserve cash.
Individual white people are saying, I didn't do it, and my ancestors didn't even do it, and you are not your ancestors. I'm
a descendant of those ancestors.
I know, but okay.
Hey, listen, when a debt is old, a debt is old. Period.
But you've got a lot of money, so you say you should get more.
Yes, I'm 97% West African, born in Charleston, South Carolina, so I should definitely get a check.
And it's about much more, though, than assigning collective guilt and assigning penalties on people who never enslaved anyone. Reparations are also needed, we're told, to stop the crime wave.
There's only one thing that would stop our children from busting into these liquor stores and grocery stores, stealing junk food and stealing different things, and that's reparations. There's only one thing that would stop our kids from busting into these jewelry stores, stealing watches and jewelry, and that's reparations.
Now, at this point, California Democrats, let's face it, they're desperate. The state is collapsing in crime. There's a huge exodus out of the state. Of course, we've all seen the homelessness, the drug abuse, and the despair. If you're a minority with a chance of opening, let's say, a small business in Dallas or in San Francisco, why on earth would you choose San Francisco? Now, the Lunatrons on the Board of Supervisors may not be able to revitalize the economy there, but they will try to entice you with a grab bag of goodies. And whatever you do, do not get bogged down on the cost of reparations.
So a lot of people are stuck on numbers. If you want to look at numbers, look at the birth rate of African Americans. Look at the incarceration rate of African Americans. Look at the dropout rate of African Americans. Look at the graduation rate of African Americans.
But even renowned supporters of reparations are scratching their heads with how the San Francisco fruitcakes arrived at that $5 million per person number.
I don't believe that there's been any serious explanation as to how the San Francisco task force came up with that number. When people hear that figure, it sounds extraordinarily large. It's not consistent with the ways in which Kirsten Mullen and I have attempted to calculate it.
Well, he's right. And by the way, Gavin Newsom, he might be wrong on most issues, but he's not a complete moron. He knows this issue would be a political nightmare, and it could be the straw that breaks the donkey's back in California. And by the way, plenty of rich suburban white liberals, they have no interest.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.